This is Matt Hurt at Obsessive Viewer on Twitter.
This is Tiny at Obsessive Tiny on Twitter.
I am Mike White at I am Mike White on Twitter.
And this is ObsessiveViewer.com's The Obsessive Viewer Podcast. How's it going, guys? We are recording in our studio again for the first time. Well, me and Tanya.
Oh, you guys are back.
Yeah.
Studio
That's
in
awesome.
quotes.
Yeah, studio in quotes, which is a sunroom in my brother's house, and it's raining.
Smells like dogs.
It does smell like dogs.
It does smell like dogs. Yeah. And I'm not in there right now. I'm not with you guys, listeners. I just was there the one time, and it smelled like dogs. They're not lying.
You know, dogs are...
But like pleasant dogs.
Yeah. They seem like good dogs.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So how's your guys' week been and whatnot?
Mine was awesome.
Busy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How's your guys' April's shaping up movie wise?
Pretty good. I haven't really inputted my that's a weird word.
It's not a word, I don't think.
It isn't? Okay. I haven't put in my information yet for most of the month, so I don't really know my numbers, but
Boo.
I know.
Yeah. Jeez.
But I'm doing pretty good. I just watched 12 Angry Men last night for the first time in a while. And
Oh, nice.
Good
man,
movie.
that movie's so good.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Cool.
I got 22 movies for the month for me. Not too bad.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I've got so far, I don't know, something like 10, which includes a watch of Good Burger, which Matt, you talked about in your Guilty Pleasures episode.
Oh, I love it so much.
And I gotta say, it was way better than I thought it was going to be.
Right?
Than I remembered it being, I guess I should say.
Wow.
It's so
It was
good.
very fun. It was a very
Yeah.
fun watch.
Oh yeah. I have on my tablet I have like a on my note-taking app, Evernote, by the way. Really good app. But anyway, I have notes for like prospective blog posts and stuff, and ones that I plan to write, and one is what Good Burger says about the fast food industry what Good Burger says about the fast food industry in 1990s America. So look
Sounds
out for that
awesome.
one.
Wow.
Yeah.
I
What's,
read it. I can't wait to read it.
Which forum are you going to post that one in?
It'll be in Obsessive.
Kind of like economics,
yeah.
as opposed to film or art.
I guess so. It'll be. We'll see.
Yeah.
It'll be on the.
There's time to think about it.
Yeah, it'll be to usher in the obsessive economist.
I can't wait to not read that.
That sounds like the most boring website ever.
In other April movie news, I think I might have a new top 10 movie.
Oh wow!
Ooh.
Yeah.
For the
I
year
watched
or
About Time on
Oh,
Blu-ray.
nice.
It's the second time I've seen the movie, and it just hits you in all the right places.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So I'll probably have to see it another time before I confirm the top 10 placing. But
Wow, you're talking about like top 10 just overall.
overall,
Oh,
I mean,
man.
it's that good.
That's
It
huge.
hits me on that kind of level.
Nice. Oh, I know what I'm bringing it for Potpourri now.
I'm going to need to see it then.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Huh.
Please do.
It's really good.
Cool.
Yep.
Yeah, like I said to you in the pod chat, I need to see it again because it seems like it seems like a movie that'll grow on you.
Sure.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway,
But
go ahead.
well, I was just gonna say, but what are we talking about today?
We are talking about summer blockbusters. Since the summer is, well, technically already here pretty much in terms of the movie season because we had the Captain America. And we have, by the time this posts, Amazing Spider-Man will have come out last week. So we're in the midst of the summer movie season. Summer blockbusters are here.
They keep
And
pushing
it feels so good.
They do. And it does feel good. And they do keep pushing it.
Yeah.
I
think Mike brought that up like once.
Yeah.
On a past episode, how they keep pushing it further every year.
Right. Now it's in
early April now.
Yeah.
Not that I have a problem with that.
No, not at all. Because I mean, we've also talked about this. And January to March is kind of a barren wasteland of trash, with a few like notable mentions. But
right, yeah, God's Not Dead.
I was thinking nonstop, but God's Not Dead.
Just kidding.
But it is different from the awards season movies in a very distinct way. and I love them for very different reasons, but I think I love them the same. I definitely appreciate the movies from awards season more, but I absolutely get more excited for the summer blockbuster season.
Yeah, me too.
And it has been my whole life.
Nice.
So that said, I've been very, very excited about this episode.
Right. I remember I just kind of threw it in the pod chat, like, hey, why don't we do a summer blockbusters episode? And I was thinking like you guys would just be like, oh, okay, and then you're like, yes, awesome, let's do this.
Yeah.
I
think I put in several S's.
Yes.
Yeah.
And exclamation points.
Yeah.
So how about we start with like defining the criteria that goes into what defines a summer blockbuster movie. Tiny, do you want to take it?
I would love to.
Sweet.
I just kind of threw this little thought process together. Just 3 quick points. I think it's very easy to just point to a summer blockbuster as, well, it came out in the summer and it was big, right?
Right.
But sometimes big movies come out in the summer that suck.
Right.
You don't really want to throw them in this category. So I think one of the first one I have is actually Hype. The pre-game, if you will, of or the preseason. There we go.
Sure.
Preseason. Yeah, I don't like that.
Nice.
what's coming up. We've known about Spider-Man and Captain America for years, essentially.
Yeah.
And so we've been building it up, and we get trailers, and then we get a second trailer, and then we get a third trailer, and it just keeps building up, and you're so excited for it. And that the hype machine has become, a huge part of this whole process. So I think that's part of it. Not a requisite. Doesn't have to be hyped, but I think it should be mentioned. So, and then of course the obvious one criteria is popularity, or you could also equate that to income, meaning how much does it make, how many people go see it, what are the ticket sales, all that stuff.
Right.
And of course that's something that can be difficult to calculate anymore because, or it's difficult to compare things from different time slots. I'm not putting this together very well. For example, Star Wars, if you adjust for inflation, made like $2 billion. Whereas its actual, box office is like 470 million or something like that. So it's hard to, compare that stuff nowadays. But either way, popularity is a big part of it. And then I think, an important aspect of summer blockbusters is the social impact, meaning, you go to school the next day or you go to work the next day or the weekend after the movie came out and everybody's talking about it. They're like, oh, I love this part. It was so cool. And I hated this part. I don't know why they cast this guy in this role. You keep talking about it. That's what's so great about summer blockbusters is that the conversation continues after you see the movie. And it can last all summer to the, if you're a kid and you go back to school in August, but there was a movie that came out in June, you could still be talking about it in August. So.
Oh yeah. I remember coming back after summer in 5th grade and everybody saw Twister but me.
Yeah, that was me too, because I couldn't see rated R movies for a long time.
Oh, I love it. My mom took me to that like opening weekend.
Yeah, I remember just because of social impact. I remember wanting to see the movie Cruel Intentions so bad in like 5th or 6th grade because the girl that I had a crush on kept talking about it.
Nice.
I gotta see the movie. I don't know what the hell she's talking about.
Well, of course you do.
Yeah, but my parents wouldn't let me see it because I was like 11.
Block.
Yeah. Mom! Foiled again.
So those are my 3 criteria: hype, popularity, and social impact.
Nice. I like it.
Yeah,
take it as you will.
I think those are good, and I agree fully.
Oh yeah. Like I said in the pod chat, I had 3 criteria for it myself, and there was money, summer, and money. And those were my criteria for summer blockbusters. But yeah, those absolutely. I agree completely with all those.
Cool.
Agreed.
Yeah, I just scratched my foot. Sorry. So yeah, who wants to go for? Well, who wants to go first? Do you mind if I go first?
Go for it, buddy.
Okay, this one will be brief, because I wasn't alive when it came out. Oh, I just hit my mic. Jaws. Kind of seems like the obvious kind of summer blockbuster movie to bring out.
Donut. Donut. Couldn't help myself.
Nice. Yeah, I was a late bloomer to Jaws. I didn't see it was nigh on 4 Shocktobers ago. I don't know if I used that right, but anyway, about 4 Shocktobers ago, I watched it on like TV, and it was like the middle of the night, and I was watching it, and I was like, I jumped at all the right spots, and then I eventually bought it on Blu-ray, and I've watched it a few times since then, and man, this movie is amazing. Obviously early Spielberg, everyone knows it, but it ushered in the era of summer blockbusters. It actually changed the way movies are like distributed and everything, because until Jaws, unless I'm mistaken, they had limited releases across the board for every movie. And this was the first movie that had like a wide sprawling like cross country release at one time, and it was such a hit that it changed the industry, and it became summer blockbusters were here to stay. And it eventually, a couple years later, was magnified intensely with Star Wars. So that, and just the pacing is just so incredible. If you watch it, like there's such a distinct difference between like the first shark attack and the second shark attack. The first one is really sudden, just one person in the water disappearing. It really sets the mood great. But then Spielberg flips it on its ear later when he shows like a beach filled with people and kids, and it's just, he plays up the tension just perfectly. Because you have no idea who's going to be attacked, who's going to die, and all that. And then where the first one is an complete absence of gore and blood, it's all atmosphere and tone. This one is just a torrent of blood just throughout the ocean, and it's spoiler alert, it's a kid that gets killed. But it's just such a great movie to study in terms of tension, escalating tension, and also as a monster movie, it's really good because it's not until like almost exactly halfway through the movie that we even see the shark. And that tension is built so perfectly throughout it that you probably could have gone the entire movie without seeing it and still been terrified and all that. So that's my pick. It's a great movie. I love it. It ushered in the summer blockbuster trend.
So you didn't see Jaws till you were 23?
I did not see Jaws until I was like 23. It might have been a little sooner.
I'll one up you. I don't think I saw it till I was 24, 25.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah. I saw it a couple years ago.
Huh.
Respect.
If you talk about, if you talk about the social impact of that movie too, like there are people to this day who are in like their 30s, 40s, maybe 50s, and they won't go swim in the ocean.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times you'll ask them why, and they say it's because of that movie.
Right.
That's the impact that movie had.
It's like Spielberg had his own Hitchcock shower scene thing.
Yeah, except it was an ocean.
Absolutely.
Right. It was more terrifying.
Yeah.
These filmmakers are...
It's funny that you mentioned the building of the tension and not seeing the shark until the end. Of course, most people know the story is that they couldn't get the shark to work and that they fully intended to show him more. But they kind of did it, with the song and all that for the better. I mean, the movie is better
absolutely.
for it.
Happy mistake.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's also, we would be remiss if we didn't mention Jaws on this episode. We're talking about summer blockbusters. I mean, it was the first summer blockbuster.
Right.
I'm looking right now, and it's funny that we're doing this because Entertainment Weekly is also doing their 20 best summer blockbusters of all time list.
Oh, nice. They also use the name Obsessive Viewer on one of their issues. So
they did. That's right. So basically, they're copying off of us.
I know, right?
And so far, looking at the list, they've got their top 20 and then, 21 through 30 as well that they didn't go into detail. Number 2 was Star Wars, and number 1 hasn't been named, but Jaws is not in the list. There's no doubt in my mind that it's going to be Jaws.
Absolutely.
And I think we agree.
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
Yep. Yeah, and I mean, it's iconic. It's an iconic film, and it's just a really great movie. In and of itself. I mean, the USS Indianapolis scene is just so incredible. And there's like a lot of cool trivia about it. Like, I can't remember. It was Richard Dreyfuss and the other actor. I don't think it was Roy Scheider. Who's the other one?
The shark.
Yeah, they didn't get along on set. No.
Shaw.
No,
something.
who played? Oh yeah, is it Robert Shaw?
Something like that.
Yeah. Shaw and Dreyfuss, they didn't get along on set at all. And in the movie, there's a point in the movie where they argue and all that, and it feels so real and everything. And like when you watch it, you think like that's a really good performance and everything. And then you read the trivia, and you're like, that really came through a lot that they didn't like each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my pick. If you guys, who wants to go next?
I can go next.
Cool.
That's all right. Okay. My first one. It's the first one that kind of came. Well, it's one of the first ones that came to mind for me. It was kind of when I became aware of what a summer blockbuster was. Let's travel back to the year 1997.
Nice.
The sun was shining, the birds were chirping,
God.
and the theaters were pumping the air conditioning.
Yes.
I think it was really hot that summer because me and my brother went to see it. My mom, she worked right next to a movie theater, and so one day we just we just went to work with her, and we went and saw the movie Men in Black.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
That's awesome.
Nice.
at the time, I would say creepily into Will Smith. Like I read his autobiography.
Oh my God.
Oh, wow.
That's how into Will Smith I was.
Oh wow.
Hold on. Okay, what's the name of the biography? Give me 3 guesses.
Oh,
All right.
I can't even. I think I still. I think. Wait, do you want to guess? Or you want me to guess?
I want to guess.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right. Number 1, I'm going to have to go with, is it getting jiggy with it?
No, it's not that.
All right. Is it in West Philadelphia, born and raised?
It is not.
Okay. Shoot. I don't know. Parents Just Don't Understand by Will Smith.
No.
That would have been my guess.
Good guesses. It's actually called Willpower.
Oh, of course. Of course it's called Willpower.
Of course it is.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh well.
And I think I want to say maybe 1997 was the year that like Getting Jiggy With It came out. That album.
I don't know, but it's.
I would come home every day from school and listen to that song.
Wow.
So much. I was watching Fresh Prince of Bel-Air like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was so into Will Smith. It's never really worn off because I mean if you don't like Will Smith, just get out of America.
Right. He's a very charismatic guy.
Yeah, he's awesome. So
I'm still waiting for him to play a bad guy.
that'd be fun.
That'd be cool.
That's a conversation for another episode.
Yeah.
But anyway.
He'll probably save that for the end of his career.
Yeah.
Or, the golden years, if you will.
Right.
Yeah.
But it came out in July of 1997. Will Smith is the undisputed king of July 4th weekend. I want to say like 6 or 7 movies over his career have come out over July 4th, and they've all been just massively successful. Yeah. Men in Black worldwide made $587 million in 1987. So adjusted for inflation, that's probably a good $800-900 million, maybe.
Wow.
Pretty big movie. And Men in Black, I thought it was one of those movies where, I loved it as a 10-year-old, 11-year-old. Obviously biased towards Will Smith, but I've watched it as an adult a few times, and it's just a fun little movie.
It really is.
It definitely has a lot of stuff for family, for like young kids, but it also has some stuff for adults too.
Yeah.
That's there's no way to put that doesn't sound dirty. But no, it's a fun movie. The surprising chemistry between Wow.
Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones.
Tommy Lee Jones. Jeez. Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith. Yeah, just really, really good chemistry between those two. Really, really good dialogue.
Yeah.
It's a fun movie.
That first scene where he's chasing the suspect throughout like the city and all that and up the building and all that, I was like, even as like a 10 or 11-year-old or whatever, I was physically exhausted when I watched it.
It's probably also from when he was roughing up a suspect.
Nice.
Damn it!
I won't do it again.
I need to put that in my notes for the 1-year anniversary special, so we can clarify that. But anyway,
my favorite part is when he's trying out with all the other recruits for the Men in Black, and like they're at the shooting range, and the only person he shoots is the little girl with the textbooks.
Yeah,
and then the best part of it is that he explains why.
Yeah,
it's just hysterical. He's like, she's walking around at night carrying a quantum physics book. She can't be more than 8 years old. Why is she carrying a quantum physics book? Something like that. It's hysterical.
Like his explanations for the aliens is so great because like one of them's working
he's
out,
snarling, and he's holding a tissue. He's got a cold.
Yeah, it's a great movie,
and I loved his like kind of his physical humor in the scene before that where he's trying to get comfortable to take the exam and he's like he breaks the pencil and he's trying to do all this and all that and he's putting it up on the weird on the chairs and all that, and then eventually he just disrupts the entire group by just pulling the table to him. It's so great. It's really hilarious.
Great physical acting.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Yeah. So that is my first selection. Very successful. A lot of hype.
I actually went as Men in Black one year for Halloween with my best friend at the time.
Nice.
Yeah, he was J and I was K.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Blackface? Did you wear blackface?
No.
Well, he would have.
No, I was K, and he was a black guy.
Oh, okay.
So we luckily didn't have to do that.
So that's Men in Black.
Yep.
Mike, what do you got for us?
You know, I had a lot of trouble actually narrowing down my list. I had all kinds. When I texted you guys in the pod chat before, I mentioned that I had a list of 12. It was actually up to like 20.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it was like I couldn't decide because we just called this episode Summer Blockbusters. We didn't call it the best. We didn't call it our favorite. We didn't call it the worst. We just said Summer Blockbusters. So I was like, well, what are they looking for? Like, what are people going to want to hear? So I also did a list of hates. I did a list of things I should mention, but I kind of landed on similar to what Tiny was going to do. He took you back to the summer of 1997. I'm going to take you back actually a couple of years after that to the summer of 1999, which was an important year for me. Picture also probably a hot summer, and rather than getting jiggy with it, playing in the background, it was Livin' La Vida Loca from Ricky Martin.
Nice.
Playing. And it was really a pretty pivotal year in my life. I was 12, and I was kind of just starting to appreciate movies for the first time as something to do other than video games, rather than just video games. Like I was appreciating them as more than something to do than just watch video games, I should say.
Okay.
My friends at the time were talking about and two girls. I just finished 6th grade, and my parents told me we were moving to Indiana, and I was pissed. So the movies that summer, huge blockbusters, kind of were important to me because it was something I could connect to at the time and cling on to. I'm going to start with actually Big Daddy, which might make you say, what? But it was actually the number 7 movie in 1999 in terms of box office.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know, which is surprising given Sandler's popularity today and the box office draw these days. But Big Daddy was actually higher than The Mummy, The Blair Witch Project, which was a phenomenon, The Green Mile, and The World Is Not Enough.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's surprising.
And I could go on. Stuart Little, American Beauty. It was bigger even than Wild Wild West.
Wow. I can't believe that.
And that was the height of his popularity, pretty much.
It was. I'm going to talk about that, actually. Nice. It's the second movie from the Dennis Dugan, Adam Sandler teaming following Happy Gilmore. The first of the second of several. Not all of them are very good. The movie's legacy now and the reception at the time is kind of interesting, and we can talk about it. It won favorite comedy at the People's Choice Awards, but it also was nominated for like a zillion Razzies, and it won worst actor for Adam Sandler.
Wow.
Oh, that's
I didn't know
great.
that.
Yeah, but something about it, and I don't know what. Maybe you guys can help me figure it out. Something lasts. It's not great, but it's not close to his worst. I guess what I love about it is it hit me at a time where I was still into crude humor, but I was also looking for my comedians to take some sort of dramatic turn. And I'm not calling Big Daddy a drama by any means, but there are, you get flashes of what Adam Sandler could be and could have been and did do eventually in movies like Reign Over Me and Spanglish and such.
Absolutely.
And that was kind of the first of that kind of thing. It wasn't the most quotable movie of the summer, but it stuck with me later, and it eventually became a quotable one. It was also the first time I noticed Sandler's gang of buddies for the first time and how he employed a bunch of friends in his movies.
Yeah.
But anyway, enough about me. The movie, and this is what I was going to talk about earlier, the movie actually is, like you said, Matt, the pinnacle of Sandler's career. It made $163.5 million.
Jeez.
Yep. And that was 15 years ago,
Mhm.
right? So that's all kinds of implications. Like, why couldn't he match Big Daddy? Why the is Grown Ups the number 2 movie? So I imagine we'll have more to say about this summer.
I believe we will.
But why do you guys like Big Daddy?
I loved it.
Yeah.
And part of me thinks that maybe, I don't know, maybe it had something to do with this, because it is kind of a crude kind of comedy like Sandler was used to at the time, but it also had, I mean, he was growing up in the movie. The movie was about him growing up and all that, and I kind of felt like maybe there was a subconscious yearning for more adult kind of themed comedy in my little adolescent brain when it came out. So maybe that's why I appreciated it more on that level.
Yeah, I think so. And I think that's kind of what I was alluding to as well. I feel the same way.
And then also the chemistry between him and the kid was just really fun.
Yeah. That kid's freaking adorable.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tiny, what'd you think of it?
I liked it at the time. I haven't seen it in so long. I honestly, I can't give you like a truly adult opinion of it. But at the time, I think it just had a lot of those classic Sandlerish lines, or just lines from Sandler movies, like, you know, hip hop anonymous. Like, that's just classic. You know, people were saying that forever, and it's just it's a cute movie.
Yeah.
Cool. It's good. I actually showed it to my students at the end of, I think, last school year or the year before, and it holds up. It's still cute.
Cool.
Nice.
People still like it.
Yeah.
I imagine it would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll talk more about it later at some point.
Sure. Definitely. So yeah, that's my first one.
Cool. I'm a little, I have so many on my list, guys. I'll talk briefly, and I'll double up on this one. I'll talk briefly about this one. We'll probably talk more about it later. Kind of going with the theme of Spielberg, Jurassic Park. It was like 15, 17, 18 years after Jaws, I think.
1993.
Yeah. One of the earliest theater experiences I have. And it was just, again, Spielberg replicated the tension of Jaws, because we don't see the T-Rex until pretty much exactly halfway through the movie. And it's so great. The special effects were just groundbreaking at the time, and it's just, I mean, I remember feeling just so much anxiety in the theater seat when the kid was climbing the fence, and the woman was about to turn on the electricity. I was like, really, it was just so much. I felt that it was like an emotional journey for me in that scene. But yeah, so that's, if you guys have anything to say about Jurassic Park, we can say it now, but I kind of wanted to double up on that one. So what do you guys think of Jurassic Park?
I love that movie. You have to love it. It's just so well done. It's one of my favorite examples of comedic timing, or comic relief. Specifically, one of the best examples is when the T-Rex attack, when the little Jeep gets thrown into the tree, and the kid is stuck in the car in the tree, and it's just such a tense moment. It's amazingly scary. I remember watching it for the first time as a kid. I was like, oh my god, he's gonna get crushed by the car. And the car falls out and it lands on top of him and the adult guy. I can't remember their names. It lands on top of him and he goes, and we're back in the car again. And I just laughed my ass off as like a 8-year-old or whatever. It was so funny. It's just, and there's just tons of examples like that. Right. Most movies would be a little bit more fun if they just had a little Jeff Goldblum in them.
Oh yeah.
Jeff Goldblum's awesome. So
I agree. Life finds a way.
Life finds a way. Awesome movie. Yeah.
Mike,
I didn't see it in theaters when it came out. I saw it on home video later on. I remember not understanding why the score moved me so much because I was never paid attention to scores. But toward the end, when the raptors are attacking the T-Rex and the sign is kind of falling, where the climax comes to a crescendo, and then the score starts up is like moving.
Yeah, I kind of miss those days where like now we watch movies and we critique them and all that stuff, but I kind of miss those days where you don't understand the mechanics of filmmaking so much, or scores and all that, or why it's moving you so much. I kind of miss those days of naive movie watching.
I do too.
Jurassic Park was another example for just personally of me having to listen to my friends talk about it for literally years because I was 6 when that movie came out.
Oh wow!
And so a guy gets ripped in half by a T-Rex. My parents wouldn't let me see it, so I didn't see that till like a year before The Lost World came out. I saw that in like 1996. Yeah.
Jeez.
I mean, it was several years after that came out. So that was it was torturous for me.
Yeah. I remember specifically like in the lead up to it, talking about hype and everything for Blockbuster. I remember my mom telling us that she read in the paper or something that, talking about how they have these new things in theaters where you feel your chair rumble. It's D-Box is what it's called. It's popular in California. But it's just, I was just in my head, I was like, oh, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
But I've never experienced it or anything.
Oh,
yeah.
Good story.
Yeah. So, so there's this thing, but didn't experience it. So good. And then briefly, I'm cheating here. I'm sorry, guys. I just wanted to bring up this other one. That one kind of ran a little long, but Independence Day, ID4.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. That's one that I remember more vividly of seeing it in the theater. Another Will Smith, 4th of July weekend thing. I loved it so much. Just the world destruction and all that. It was one of the first times I ever saw that. I remember seeing on like HBO, like one of those first look specials where they talked about how Roland Emmerich did the destruction of like New York scenes where the first time the beam comes down and destroys the city. And it was like, that's another instance of where this is the first time that I saw like how movies were made, because he had a scale model of the entire thing and just basically shot it like that. And I was like, that's so, in my head, I was like, how, that's so genius. I can't believe, who would think to do that?
Yeah.
Not knowing it's a pretty common technique, but it was just mind blowing to see how much detail went into this movie and how it came across on screen, because the special effects at the time were just astounding. But yeah, I love that movie so much.
Yes.
Yeah.
Will Smith.
It's a good one.
July 4th weekend.
Yep.
And Vivica Fox.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You guys got anything to say about Independence Day?
That one I did actually see in theaters, and it was I remember just being a kid and quoting the "I gotta get me one of these" line all the time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Again, more awesome Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Stop talking about the fat lady. You're obsessed with the fat lady.
That's the connection there. I didn't even consider.
And he reuses the line from Jurassic Park where he's like, "Must go faster. Must go faster."
That's right.
Uses it in both movies.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Might need to watch a double feature of this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
Jeff Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum back to back.
Yes. I love it. So Tiny, what's your next one?
Well, Tiny's Time Machine is going to stay in the year 1997. Patent pending, Tiny's Time Machine.
I love it.
I forgot to mention that this is a very personal list, the one that I made. I don't know. I when I thought of summer blockbusters, I thought about the ones that I've experienced and why they're significant to me. I mentioned Men in Black. I saw it with my brother and stuff like that. And Will Smith I was in love with him, borderline inappropriate. And this movie was another torture session for me. It was the movie Face Off.
Nice. That
came out in June of 1997. It made $241 million worldwide. By the way, I'm getting these numbers from the-numbers.com.
Oh.
It's such a vague website title. Nothing to do with it. Doesn't sound like it's anything to do with movies, but it's.
Yes.
I went to IMDb and they were only. IMDb numbers are kind of off because it's like.
Yeah.
It's hard to get the international numbers, so. But this added that in there. So, Face Off came out in June, and I didn't really pay a whole lot of attention to it. I was like, yeah, it looks pretty cool. Again, I was 10. But I came back to school in August or whatever, and everybody in my class was talking about it, and I'm like, was it really that good? I mean, and then, people were telling me about it, and they were like, they take their faces off and they switch. I was like, what? How have I not seen this? And and then like people were telling me more stuff about it, Nick Cage being Nick Cage.
Right.
And John Travolta, I was a big John Travolta fan at the time as well. I was really into Grease. That's
surprise.
That's another story.
I know you love your musicals.
Yes. So it was just torture for me, and I didn't see it for years. I honestly don't even remember the first time. I think I was in high school when I finally saw it. It is a John Woo movie.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just so ridiculously beautifully over the top. We talked before about the fad sort of in the 90s of these like over the top action movies with like big name actors who are just kind of okay, or they're kind of crazy now.
Right.
John Travolta, Nick Cage, Christian Slater. Yeah. Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Christian Slater cleaned up in the 90s.
He really did.
Yeah.
And the 2000s were hard on him.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just such a preposterous idea for a movie.
Yeah.
But it worked so well. Seeing the two actors kind of switch personalities is so satisfyingly entertaining to this day. Awesome. To this day. So it's a fun movie, and it was really popular at the time. It was notable for me.
Nice.
So.
I love it as a concept. I saw it fairly late as well, but it's such a fun movie, and I don't know. It's just, I don't have much to say about it. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll actually say it's actually one of my favorites.
Nice.
Yeah. I was, for all the same reasons. I mean, it's not a particularly exemplary movie by any means, but it's fun. And it's both of those actors, I think in top form. So, it's a good one.
Yeah. It plays up a lot of like action movie tropes. Like the Nerds You're Looking For just brought it up in their most recent episode. How it kind of ends with the two face off between the two having their guns drawn on each other and kind of in a circle thing. And that's just such a common cliche, and I love it for the cheese factor.
Yeah, totally.
Cool. Yep. So Mike, what do you got next?
Sure. I can talk about, here we go. The promos for my second movie started out on a ship, and it was kind of ominous, and it looked like it was in outer space. And it went on to say, if you see only one movie this summer, see Star Wars. But if you see two, see Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me. We've talked about on the show before movies that made us love movies for whatever reason. And this is one of those movies, which is crazy. I know. When I call, when you call Scream one of the movies that made you love movies, and I call Halloween and I call Pulp Fiction one of those movies, it's almost comical that Austin Powers is one of the movies that made me love movies. But it is. Right. I don't think I've ever quoted a movie more than I have the Austin Powers movies, and probably the second one, which is why I'm talking about it. You could ask one of my friends at work. I tried to go an entire year saying a quote from the movie just in conversation every single day. I don't think I actually did it, but I got close. I do Austin Powers and Dr. Evil impressions on a daily basis. It's sort of a language anytime I get together with my extended family. And when I leave my parents' house, when I visit, I do the pinky salute. I'm about to travel through time. And I put my pinky up to my mouth. If you think I'm crazy, Austin Powers made $206 million total.
Wow.
Which is good enough for fourth in 1999.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. More impressively, it made about $56 million in its opening weekend, which is the second biggest opening weekend of the year, second to Star Wars Episode I.
Wow.
Huh.
Yep. The first one made $68 million total. Again, in its opening weekend, Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me, made $56 million, and total it made over $206 million.
Wow.
Which is incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, the anticipation was huge. I saw it opening weekend at the drive-in, and here's kind of like Tiny said with the personal aspect of it. I'm going to stick with 1999, of course. It meant something to me because it was the last movie I watched at the drive-in in Aurora, Illinois before we moved to Indiana.
Oh, wow.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And so I remember it incredibly vividly. I remember throwing a baseball around beforehand and thinking, man, I'm moving after this. This sucks. But I got to see Austin Powers. I think, and I'm not sure, I wish I could confirm this. I even texted my brother beforehand that the movie that showed before Austin Powers, because you get a 2 for at a drive-in, was actually Big Daddy.
Wow.
Yeah,
Nice.
but I'm not sure. I could be wrong. I haven't seen it in maybe 10 years, and I'm a little scared to. I love the nostalgia for it, and it's cultural penetration is undeniable, and I think I love it for that. So I don't know. It probably means more to me than it does to anybody else, but I think you can definitely it definitely falls under that criteria that you listed earlier on.
Yeah,
totally.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Thoughts?
You're not a fan of Bond, are you?
No, not particularly.
That's interesting because it plays on a lot of tropes from the Bond movies. I'm actually looking.
Oh, does it?
No, it's interesting to me. I'm excited to. I haven't watched it either in a long time, and part of that is I'm also a little afraid to watch them because it's so. The first two movies, I don't want to say that there was a third movie. I did not like Goldmember.
Yeah, I didn't either.
But the first two movies, they're so dear to me in my movie going history.
Yep.
That I'm also afraid to watch them again. Will Ferrell in the first one is hysterical. Yeah. And in the second one, it was one of the, maybe not one of the first, because I do remember seeing Bill and Ted in the drive-in, but it was like another early instance of me attaching myself to time travel in movies, because I'm a huge nerd for time travel. I love it. But this was such a fun movie. I don't really have much else to say about it. I'm looking forward to revisiting them. I was planning on seeing them in tandem with my big Bond 50th anniversary box set.
Oh, nice
thing. And I'm kind of slow going through that. I'm still like halfway through the Bond movies. So once I get to the time chronologically where the Austin Powers movies come out, I'm going to watch them, having the history of the Bond franchise in my head. But I'm a little afraid that it might taint my experience.
Nice.
That it might taint your your Bond experience.
Austin Powers. I'm afraid that it'll be like, okay, I can see where all of these kind of gags originated from, and I feel like I'm afraid that it might spoil some of the specialness of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I will say that it has really made me enjoy the Bond movies, because like one of the early ones has them all meeting at a table, and Blofeld like kills one of them at the table with the button. It's like I think Thunderball was one of the ones that really influenced Mike Myers in making Austin Powers, and it really shows when you watch that movie.
Yeah, I remember like fat bastard impressions becoming a thing.
Yeah.
And because that was so funny to me. That was my favorite part of it. Like to this day, I will still often say, I've got a crap on deck that could choke a donkey. Like I say that, I've got a turtle head poking out like all the time.
Oh yeah.
I don't even do the accent anymore. It is part of my vernacular to say I've got a turtle head poking out.
Yeah.
Oh, that is great. Yeah. Yeah, and that's part of the reason why I'm a little afraid to watch them again. Also, because I mean that's such a juvenile gag.
Oh yeah.
And it's such a juvenile character that I'm a little worried about that. But man, that movie, good pick.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No. Guess that brings it to me, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yep.
I'm gonna go a little more contemporary for this, and I don't know how it's gonna play in this conversation, but if you want a good story about this movie, check out our Movie Theater Experiences 2 episode with Craig Lane from Intermission Podcast. He has a really good story about this. But Transformers, the first one. While you guys are going more personal, I'm going for kind of a more contemporary movie. I probably should have swapped this one with the last one, but this movie for me was just such a surprise. I didn't see it in the theater. I didn't even think much about it because I'm like, okay, Michael Bay is making a movie about toys, based on toys. This is trash. I'm not gonna watch it. And the franchise did turn into just crap. But that first one, there's a charm to it. I really connected, to Shia LaBeouf's characters, kind of his awkwardness.
Yeah.
He plays up this awkward teen kind of thing, and I'm like, that was me. I feel for you, buddy. Although I could never pull a girl like Megan Fox, but still, it was just a lot of fun. Kind of a classic Michael Bay crap. And there are better Michael Bay movies that could be entered into this conversation, but something about Transformers just kind of spoke to me. It was a perfect balance of fun and more fun. Because there's not really much substance to it.
Yeah.
And that kind of, if Shia LaBeouf's character wasn't played so awkwardly and so as an awkward teen and all that, and it's not even that big a part of the movie, but if he hadn't played it quite that way, I probably would have been just completely forgettable. But that kind of brought it around for me.
Yeah, I agree. The draw for me, I was not really a big, Transformers fan when I was younger. That wasn't the draw at all. It was the kid from Even Stevens was the draw, and I was excited to see Shia LaBeouf, and he didn't disappoint.
No, he didn't. I knew him from, I never saw Even Stevens, but I knew him from Project Greenlight, Bravo reality series about filmmaking and stuff. He was picked for, I think, season 2's movie. And I just remember there was a scene where he's kind of getting into character because it's a role. The movie that they were making was the Battle of Shaker Heights.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's a scene where like his dad is sick or something like that, and he was trying to get into character and all that, and he was thinking of all this stuff, and like he was talking about like his process, but I mean he was a teenager. But he spoke with such and now that I think about it, eloquence, yeah. So such self-awareness of his acting method and all that I kind of wonder if maybe they, it was a little bit scripted, but
I don't think so. He strikes me as that kind of performer, even at that young of an age. Mm-hmm. And that I think is why he stood out and why I was so excited about seeing this and why I loved Even Stevens so much and why even more it's such a damn shame what happened to the kid.
Oh, I know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It is. I was a Shia LaBeouf, sort of an apologist, more of a. I think more a defender is a better word because I think his work is absolutely defensible.
Right.
I think he's done some quality work. I agree with you guys. He's the draw of the film for me as well. But at the same time, like there's just say what you will about Michael Bay, it's just cool to see some shit blow up.
It is.
I mean,
Absolutely.
It is.
sometimes it's exactly what you're looking for.
No.
And this movie does not skimp on that at all.
Right.
Yeah, and I think Transformers we're all the same age. I think it was just a little bit ahead of our time. It was
It was.
Yeah.
80s cartoon, you know.
I had no
not alive
attachment
yet.
to them.
Yeah.
Right. I had absolutely no attachment to Transformers before the movie.
Right.
Or after the movie, for that matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my pick. Tiny, what about you?
It's a good pick.
Thank
Continuing on, this movie is from May of 2006. It is Ron Howard's The Da Vinci Code.
Okay.
That's interesting.
And again, just very, very personal pick for me because, excuse me, I read that book, Dan Brown's The Da Vinci Code, which was a phenomenon, a literal worldwide phenomenon. It was Dan Brown. He's not as particularly amazing writer or anything, but he knows how to pick his material. I mean,
Right.
that's what stands out about this book that he wrote. And I read that book and it just absolutely blew me away. In just every single way. I think it was one of the first seeds that had been planted in my mind of kind of where my opinions towards faith went eventually and have gotten to now. And that's how powerful that book was. And so at the time I was pretty much a full-blown movie buff. And I was just so unbelievably excited for the movie. I mean, like I'm not exaggerating. I remember sitting in the theater waiting for it to start. I was literally shaking. I was so excited. I was like,
Wow.
dude, it's Ron Howard. It's Tom Hanks. They're going to knock it out of the park. It's going to be freaking amazing. And it was okay. I mean, it was okay. But the movie was a bit of a phenomenon itself. It made $767 million. I forgot how successful this movie was. Just in the U.S., I think it made close to $500 million, which that's huge. I mean, it's from 2006, so a little bit of inflation, maybe it's $900 million, but it was just it had a huge worldwide box office as well.
Yeah.
It made a lot of impact in Europe, and I think the Italians are pretty pissed about it. Not too kind to Catholicism, but it's just a really terrific idea it's just a terrific story. Incredible information, and just had such a huge impact on me. I just can't believe how excited for it I was. So that's why it really stuck out to me.
Nice.
Yeah.
I've been a very big detractor of Dan Brown's writing for a long time.
Yeah.
But I will say he is a damn fine storyteller.
Yeah.
Cause I mean, he can really keep momentum and pace going really well. And, I like the movie. I thought the movie was fine. I own it, but I mean, it's one of those movies that I'm like, if I were to sell my stuff, it might go on the chopping block. I was more drawn to National Treasure, for my kind of history based, mysteries and
Right.
Mysteries.
mysteries. Yeah. But I thought it was good. Tom Hanks is spectacular in everything he does.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I saw the movie. I got to see an early screening of it.
Oh, nice.
I dated a girl who worked for a radio station, and they were always given early screening tickets, the premieres. So we saw it about a week before it came out. I didn't read the book, and I can't say I was crazy excited for it, but I think I was just kind of buying into the hype. So I was looking forward to seeing it, and after it was over, I kind of felt the same way you did, Tiny. I was like, yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
I read the book in like 2 days or maybe a night. It's a really quick read in itself, but of note, I guess, the illustrated edition.
It's terrific.
So amazing.
It's so good.
Because it basically shows all the clues and like pictures and stuff of the clues, and you can see it's really immersive. So yeah.
Yeah, it's man, I was so disappointed in it. Angels and Demons is I would say the book is on par with Da Vinci Code. A lot of people think it's actually the better book. I think it's the better movie too. Thought it was a little bit more fun. Yeah, like Ewan McGregor in it.
Yeah. I don't really remember, and I almost made a dig when you. I'll just go ahead and say it. It's on par with Da Vinci Code because it's pretty much the same fucking book.
No, it's not.
I mean, it's not, but I mean, it's just you can just see if you were to outline each book, they hit the exact same marks and pretty much the exact same time. But
true.
But no, the movie was okay. I don't really remember it that well. I don't think I own it. Yeah.
Yep. So that's number 3 for me.
Cool.
What do you got next, Mike?
Yeah, this, I guess, hopefully this is all we do because I don't have a whole lot more.
Yeah, this will be the last one. I
Okay.
think.
Yeah.
For my last one, then the number 3 is the other movie from the Austin Powers trailer, and it's Star Wars Episode VI.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Of course, I was going to do a Star Wars movie. If you didn't think I was going to do a Star Wars movie, you haven't. This is your first episode of the podcast. I considered doing Star Wars Episode 3. I think I was more excited for it, but I kind of talked about that at length in the theater experience episode,
Right.
so I won't. It made $431,088,295 total, and it had a $64.8 million opening. Yep. Interestingly, I did not attend that. Midnight was not a concept for me when I was in 6th grade.
Right.
Yeah, but I had a friend who saw it. The friend who actually got me into Star Wars saw it, and so he recounted most of it to me the next day. What I remember most about it is that I was too young to be jaded about it. Like a lot of the people who hated it were kind of either kids when it came out or teenagers when they came out or saw it at a very, very young age. Mm-hmm. And I might have said on here before, I was kind of late to the game on Star Wars. A lot of people I know found it at a very young age. I was like 10 or 11 when I first saw the original trilogy. So anyway, I was super excited for Episode 1, and I just loved how awesome it was. I bought in full force. I had all the action figures. I still have most of the main players from the movie in their boxes. I played the video game. I collected the Taco Bell toys, all of it. Yeah, and I even saw it twice.
Nice.
It's the one on my list that is a head scratcher. Like, why would you say Star Wars Episode 1? But it's also undeniable the cultural impact that Star Wars Episode 1 had. I could have probably said the first Star Wars, but I kind of wanted to keep it in 1999. Right. And I also kind of wanted to pick movies that didn't predate me. Even more so, Episode 1 was made for me. That movie was made for 12-year-olds. And it was absolutely integral to who I am today when that movie came out. Today I watch it and it is undoubtedly a mess. The politics are muddy. They're a drag. Jake Lloyd is in it. Actually,
I just love that he's in it.
Yeah, Jake Lloyd is in it. Actually, the ADR work in it is atrocious. In all the prequel movies, the ADR is just awful.
Wow.
So it's really bad. The CGI is laughable. The two best things about it died at the end. Of course, I'm referring to Lucas's credibility and faith in the future of Star Wars.
Nice.
That's a joke.
No.
Qui-Gon died and
I
Darth Maul died. They're the best things about the movie.
They are.
Yeah.
And they died. And I'm not even going to touch Jar Jar.
Oh, geez.
I considered mentioning The Matrix as this one.
Mm-hmm.
It came out about a month before Star Wars Episode 3, a month and a half. And it kind of set a new bar for special effects. Yeah. So that absolutely didn't help Star Wars Episode 1 when it came out. But when I was 12, it didn't matter. Star Wars was back. I couldn't be more thrilled. Culturally, of course, it was ripped to... or critically, it was ripped to pieces, but people still flipped out about it. People went to, I wish I could tell you the movie that they went to see the trailer, but I mean, people were buying tickets to see a movie, to see the trailer and then walk out.
Yeah.
That's how big a deal it was to people. Just it was on the news. People lined up about it. They made the movie fanboys about it.
Right.
And it's still popular today. People still talk about it today. It kept Star Wars alive. People talk about how big of a cultural thing Star Wars is, and how it's not even about the movies anymore. It's about the expanded universe and the universe of Star Wars and just everything that there is. It's toys, comics, video games, everything now. It's hard to remember that at a time it was just a movie. And I would go as far as to argue that before Star Wars Episode I, it was still kind of just the movies.
Yeah.
There was merchandise and that stuff was important, but culturally it was known for the movies. And Star Wars Episode I blew it up. Absolutely blew it up.
Yeah, agreed. Totally. I think you're right that it was the movies so much, and I think when these new ones came out, most specifically the Episode 1, people saw how not good they were, and they just wanted to cling to anything else that was new Star Wars, and so that's how the expanded universe has become so popular.
Yeah,
which is a great thing because there's some really quality stuff out there.
Yep.
But you mentioned, and I agree with it, that the two good things about the movie were Qui-Gon and Darth Maul. I would throw the music in there as well as being very good.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with you. That's kind of a given, I guess, but you're right.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, it was new music. It was different from the music from the original trilogy. I remember the song "Duel of the Fates," which is the song that plays during the the three-way sword fight in the end, the climactic sword fight,
which is amazing for all that movie's faults.
Exactly.
So great.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and I remember the cultural impact of it as well. I remember after opening weekend of that, coming back to school, and there was I think there were a couple guys in my class who went and saw it 3 times that opening weekend, and I hadn't seen it yet.
I remember going to Kings Island with some group, I don't remember, for school, but I remember me and my friend were sitting, or it might have been with his family, but anyway, we were kind of sitting because I'm not good with heights. So I skipped one of the rides, and he was basically talking about it. It was after he had seen it. Dogs just came in. Anyway, I had just seen it, or I hadn't seen it, and I wasn't a fan of Star Wars. I don't think I'd seen any of the Star Wars movies yet. And my friend, he saw it, and he was basically telling, Mike, what you said, he was basically telling me point by point all the stuff of the movie, and I'm like, that sounds amazing. And then I eventually saw the movie, and I liked it a lot. And then I remember playing that game, the video game, so much. It was really cool, and I remember enjoying it when I saw it, but still not enough to really jump into the whole universe.
Yeah. So to kind of tie a knot, by the way, on the 1999 thing, I saved this one for last, and I talked about how the summer of 1999 was so important to me because I moved. What I love so much about Star Wars Episode I is that while in Aurora, Illinois, which is a suburb of Chicago, I wasn't necessarily known for anything. I was able to bring an identity of someone who loves Star Wars to Indiana, and I kind of connected and made new friends through that. And I kind of point to the summer of '99 in that I loved Adam Sandler movies, and I could quote those. I could quote the entire Austin Powers duology, I guess, at that time.
Right.
And I was a Star Wars kid, so that summer meant a lot to me, and Star Wars was probably the most important at the time.
Nice.
That's great.
Yeah.
Nice. Should we switch over to Potpourri then?
Let's do it.
Cool. This, of course, is the section of the podcast where we talk about anything that's we've watched or looking forward to, or anything that's on our minds regarding movie or TV, news, industry, all that stuff, as long as it smells good. So who wants to go first?
Give me a second. Someone else.
Okay.
Sorry.
Tiny, what do you got for us for Potpourri?
Well, kind of sticking to a theme here, because today, which is the 28th of April, 29th of April, they, I guess Disney released news. It was the actual casting choices for Episode VII of Star Wars, directed by J.J. Abrams.
Nice.
And I saw it on, I found it on Facebook, and like, I was so hesitant to just click on it.
Right.
Because I've been so excited for it, and it's just like, they've been slowly building this news release for it over months and almost a year now.
Yeah.
And it's so tense for me because I'm trying not to get too excited about it. And I'm really happy with the choices that they ultimately made for it. Of course, well, not of course, but, they did, acknowledge that, the three biggest actors from the original trilogy will be back: Harrison Ford, Mark Hamill, and Carrie Fisher, playing their respective roles. But some of the new faces are really exciting. Andy Serkis, who is most famous for playing Gollum in Lord of the Rings. Super excited for that. I'm kind of hoping that he doesn't do mocap. I hope it's just Andy Serkis. Like,
Right.
I'm kind of sick of seeing the guy in CGI only. He's a great actor with a lot of range. So that's exciting. And then, to bring it back to Mike's introduction to this episode where he was talking about time.
Nice.
The actress, I believe it's pronounced Domhnall Gleeson, British actor, who was in the movie About Time. He is also in Star Wars Episode VII.
Yeah.
I didn't catch
That makes me so excited.
Yeah.
That's my favorite part.
Nice. Yeah. I've seen him in some other stuff, so it's exciting for me as well.
That's awesome.
My favorite acting choice is Adam Driver, because he's just really good he's the best part of the show Girls. I hate that show. But I think he's going to be an amazing actor, and I can't wait to see what he does, especially if he plays a villain like they've been kind of hinting at.
Yeah.
Oscar Isaac, everything I've seen him in, he's been great. Looking forward to that. Can't go wrong with Max von Sydow, classic actor. He's like so old. I don't know what they're going to have him do.
Right.
And then a couple of unknown British actors, John Boyega and Daisy Ridley. John Boyega, I saw him in the movie Attack the Block, but I haven't seen that movie in a while. So, but yeah, it's exciting casting choices, getting me more excited for the movie.
Nice. What has Oscar Isaac been in?
He was in the movie Drive. Sorry.
Yeah, he was the boyfriend of the girl that Ryan Gosling was
Carey Mulligan.
with. Carey Mulligan.
Okay.
He's probably most famous for playing
Inside Llewyn Davis.
Yeah, he played Llewyn Davis in Inside Llewyn Davis. Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
And he's a good actor.
Nice.
So, yeah, I'm just fun. Great news. I'm excited. Are you excited for it, Mike?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I can't wait. I saw it about 20 minutes, I think, after they posted it, and I was just I retweeted it. I posted on Facebook. I told all my colleagues at work. I told my students.
I did the same thing. I was at work too, and people were coming up to the desk, and I was like, "Oh, they released the casting list for the Star Wars Episode VII." People were like, "They're making a seventh Star. Get the hell out of here!"
Yeah, exactly.
How did you not know that?
I love it.
Yeah, so it kind of made my day. So
That's cool.
Yep.
I'm glad you guys are excited for it.
Yeah, Matt doesn't care.
No, it's not that I don't. I mean, it's gonna be cool. I'll check it out.
Whatever.
Yeah. Mike, what do you got for us for Potpourri?
Sure, I'll be quick. Because I've got a couple. I saw the movie Oculus last week, the WWE horror movie. It was okay.
Okay.
Kind of predictable, had some decent scares, a surprising R rating. But I would say it's worth checking out. I would Redbox it.
Okay.
I also want to mention that I watched Good Burger. And did I talk about this at the beginning of the episode, or did we talk about this in the pre-stuff?
Beginning of the episode.
Okay, well, never mind. Scratch this. The other thing I guess I got to talk about is we'll stick with the summer blockbusters, and this is where I'll say my thoughts on Amazing Spider-Man 2. I'm excited to see what happens. I am at this point pretty sure that they're going to kill Gwen Stacy. I'm about 90% sure they're going to kill Gwen Stacy. I really didn't like the first one, so they can't fall much further than that. And everything I've seen so far has me excited, and I plan to see it twice this weekend.
Nice. Yeah.
There's not much to say about it that people don't already know. I guess I just kind of wanted to give my thoughts. I really love Andrew Garfield. I love Dane DeHaan, so I'm excited to see how that plays out.
Nice. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that too. And by the time this post, it'll have already been released. But
right.
Yeah, check us out on Twitter to see what we thought of it. But my pick for Potpourri is me and Tiny both saw this Transcendence.
Yes, we did.
And,
oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's Wally Pfister's first.
Don't
movie.
say too much because I haven't seen it yet.
Okay. Well, it was Wally Pfister's first movie. He's the DP on pretty much all of Christopher Nolan's movies, and the premise is really interesting. It's about the singularity, pretty much, where the emergence of melding human consciousness with machines and computers and stuff, and it was okay. I mean, it was just, you can kind of tell the pacing was a bit off for me, and you can kind of tell that it was a first-time director. And like Tiny mentioned this after we saw it, but not to steal your words, but saying that Pfister doesn't really have a style yet. So it was kind of a visually ambiguous kind of directing style in it.
Kind of generic.
Yeah. I was trying to be polite for him. No, but it was kind of a generic kind of offering, and pretty unfortunately pretty forgettable.
Somebody referred to it as, I think it was a review I read, somebody referred to it as another Depsaster. Which I thought was
I think they were just talking about the box office numbers.
Yeah. And I mean, it deserves a little bit more, but I mean, I just didn't really connect to it that much.
Yeah. Well, and plus, I don't think the fault is Johnny Depp's.
No.
He wasn't the problem with the movie.
Right.
Yeah, it bordered on underwhelming.
Yeah.
Bordered on being underwhelming for me. Yeah. But I think Wally Pfister could, if he can dig himself out of this hole, he could do some good things. So.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
cool.
Yeah, I think that about does it. Does it not?
I believe it does.
Summer Blockbusters.
Oh, yes. Let us know what your favorite summer blockbusters, or what summer blockbusters you're most looking forward to this summer. Which, by the way, which ones are you guys looking forward to? I'm kind of going more toward Guardians of the Galaxy and Godzilla. What are you guys looking most forward to?
I was excited for Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the one I was most excited for. So nice. I guess the only other one really is Spider-Man.
Cool.
Well, for me, it has to be the movie with my two favorite actors in it, X-Men. Days of Future Past, James McAvoy, Michael Fassbender. So really looking forward to that.
Awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, it'll be a good summer. As always, thank you for listening to the Obsessive Viewer podcast, and thank you to Star Tissue for providing our awesome opening theme music. You can find more of their music at soundcloud.com/startissue. The link is also in the show notes for you to click it. Please rate and review us on iTunes, and vote for us for Podcast of the Month on podcastland.com. Both help us out a lot, and especially rating and reviews on iTunes. We're trying to get that new and noteworthy status. And also like our Facebook page at facebook.com/theobsessiveviewer. We're posting a lot of articles and commentary on there that doesn't really fit in with the blog. You can also, of course, follow each of us on Twitter, as noted at the top of the podcast. You can find me, Matt, at obsessiveviewer. Tiny is at obsessivetiny, and Mike is at IamMikeWhite. You can also check out the blog at obsessiveviewer.com. We're posting a lot of great stuff there. I've finished up reviewing all of the second season of House of Cards, and I'm trying to think of... we just released our bonus episode. I'm trying to think of the timeline here. We've just released our bonus episode of talking about the first 2 seasons of House of Cards. It's a lot of fun. So if you watch the show, check out that episode. Also reviewed every episode of Bates Motel. If you're into that show, you can check that out on the website, and also just general commentary and movie reviews of and stuff on obsessiveviewer.com. Also check out our sister site at obsessivebooknerd.com, where we're posting book reviews and commentaries on the nature of or in the evolving world of reading. And also check out Tiny's side project, The Secular Perspective, at thesecularperspective.com. It's a podcast all about the healthy discussion of religion and secularism in the world today from all kinds of perspectives. And if you have any thoughts on the podcast or suggestions for future topics, or if you want to send us audio files of stuff that you want us to play or anything like that, you can email us at ovpodcast@gmail.com. And that about does it. I almost did a good job there until the end. Yeah, I'll get them one of these days.
You're getting there.
Yeah. I actually had it all written out here. But anyway, that about does it for us. Thanks for listening, guys.
Thanks for listening.
All right, so it's been a week since we recorded this episode, and I figured that since all three of us saw the Amazon Spider-Man 2 this past weekend, that we can all, I figured we'd just sit down and talk about it to tack it on to the end of this episode. So, how's it going, guys? What'd you guys think of the Amazing Spider-Man 2?
We've all seen it, right?
Yes, we have.
Yeah. Did you say it sucked, Tiny?
Yeah, I was just trolling.
Oh,
sorry.
Well, I'll let you go first. What do you think?
I really liked it a lot. Yeah, that's it. No, it was great. I think they excuse me. I think they really amped everything up on pretty much every level. I remember Matt saying he was worried it was going to be bloated. Yeah, kind of was. I think it seemed like some of the other storylines would have been much more. I don't know, much more fulfilling, I guess, if they had kind of cut some of the stuff out. But overall, I liked it a lot. I thought it was a step up.
Nice.
Cool.
I liked it too, quite a bit, with a couple asterisks. I don't know how the
asterisks.
Asterisks, yes, sure.
I think that's how you say it.
Ostracizers.
I liked it quite a bit with an asterisk or two. I was afraid that it would be bloated, yeah, and to an extent, it kind of was. The whole prologue with mom and pop
Parents,
Parker, yeah, that on the plane,
Richard and Mary,
yeah, that didn't really. I feel like that didn't need to be included, or it didn't need to be so prolonged, especially at the beginning of the movie. That, and plus some of the other stuff, I mean, granted, I'm coming at this from a place of not having any knowledge of the comics or anything, but. And maybe, Mike, you can shed some light on this, but is there any reason why we needed to know that Aunt May is a nurse? Because that just seemed kind of weird.
No, not at all.
Okay, cool. And then also, like Paul Giamatti didn't need to be in it. It was all kind of leading toward Sinister Six, I believe. It was like Rhino is just completely useless in the movie and kind of just superfluous to it. But the meat of the movie, it was really good. I really liked the special effects were fantastic. I could watch like Spider-Man just spinning like web slinging throughout New York City all day, especially in that iteration of it because the special effects were really good. So all in all, I liked it quite a bit. Mike, what'd you think?
I'll be as brief as possible because I wrote a review for it that should be up on the site by now, as well as hopefully a video of my discussion of one of my best friends. We talked about it at length afterwards, so I'm hoping he has that edited and put up. But I'm going to say kind of a lot of the same things you did. I'm going to borrow from my review quickly. The only thing Amazing Spider-Man had to do was be better than the first one. which I thought was terrible. I hate the first Amazing Spider-Man movie. And it was significantly better. I remember thinking it did a lot of things to make up for the things that really bummed me out about the first one. I agree fully. I thought the opening scene with the parents was kind of silly. They say that a movie is set up in its first scene, like the entire movie could be summed up in its first scene, and that was pretty throwaway.
Right.
I'll disagree with you on the Rhino thing, but only slightly. Maybe perhaps because it was Paul Giamatti, people were expecting more. But I kind of liked that we saw the Rhino only briefly. It was almost like a cameo, almost like an Easter egg.
Sure.
And I appreciated that, like, because you get all kinds of those things in comics where he'll kind of just be dipping out of a fight before you get into the main storyline. And I think where a lot of people will agree with you is that you don't cast Paul Giamatti for something like that.
Right.
But I appreciated it. Dane DeHaan, as always, just is out of this world. I can't wait till he's the star of something big. Emma Stone and Andrew Garfield were perfect as always. What I keep coming to with this movie is that I'm worried about a third movie. Like I don't know what else there is to do. I feel like if there was an arc for Peter Parker, it was all about getting the girl and then losing the girl and then getting the girl back, and then I won't spoil what happens at the end, but how that is left, I feel like his arc is done, especially in the very closing scene of the movie. I feel like Peter Parker finds out why he is Spider-Man, and I'm worried what they could possibly do in a third one that isn't just a comic book thing.
Right. Speaking spoiler free about what all happened between Gwen Stacy and Peter Parker. There's scenes together where it's just Peter Parker and Gwen Stacy. Like I loved those scenes. I thought that
I could watch those over and over again.
Yeah, I would like at times when they're talking. Like there was a scene where they're kind of out and about and they kind of meet up. I was just sitting there like I could watch like an entire rom-com that's just their story or whatever, and be completely fine with it.
Yeah, one of the things I say in my review is my favorite superhero movies are the ones where if you didn't have the costumes, you could still enjoy it. And I think there are several moments in this movie that is the case.
Absolutely.
I could watch the two of them. Adorbs. Yeah. Some of the scenes of the two of them are just as fun to watch as the web swinging you were talking about.
Oh yeah,
I think
I absolutely agree, and I wonder how much of that is due to their just chemistry, just as because they're a couple in real life, I believe, right?
Yeah,
yeah. I wonder how much of that is due to that.
Yeah, it's got to be partly.
Yeah, but they're both very talented and very very good.
I loved the quippiness of Spider-Man in this movie. He was always interjecting little fun lines, little comedic lines in throughout the action scenes. Are the comics like that, Mike? Is he like that?
Oh, absolutely. It was something that was missed in the originals for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
And I love how much of an extension it is of the first one in that regard, because the first one had like a few really good things, like the obviously everyone's favorite part of the first one is the knife thing, like a knife, you found my one weakness or something. But it's just it was so like they did so much more with just his wit and his kind of I don't want to say cockiness, but just his witticisms in this movie was just amplified. That's part of what makes a good sequel is that they just take what worked in the first one and just expanded it quite a bit, and that's what they did here.
For fans of Spider-Man, what they say is that how you feel about the actor who plays Peter Parker is really a matter of opinion. You can like what Andrew Garfield did, you can like what Tobey Maguire did, but it is without question that Andrew Garfield is a better Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I think if you asked any Spider fan, that they would agree with that statement.
Yeah.
So Matt and I talked about it a little bit after we watched the movie together. We held hands, we snuggled.
It was nice.
So we talked about it afterwards, but I asked him. I thought Dane DeHaan as Harry Osborn, phenomenal, just phenomenal. But I think as Green Goblin, I thought he really towed the line of being a little over the top. I don't know. How did you feel about it?
I felt all right about it. It depends again on what you're looking for with comic book movies, and this one is very much a comic book movie. I kind of in my review I compare it to The Dark Knight in things I like about it that aren't necessarily superhero. It's definitely a colorful comic booky movie, and so I kind of liked it. I also said that it reminded me of his character in Chronicle, which is a better movie and a better part.
Yeah.
But I was okay with it. My friend asked me, like, as it happened, as he transformed, he turned to me and he goes, "Are you okay with that? Is that how you would have wanted it?" And I kind of turned back to him and I said, "Well, it's all right." I kind of learned a long time ago. I feel like with the second Raimi movie that you definitely have to separate yourself from the comic book when you're watching these movies and just kind of appreciate them as movies while also appreciating the fact that the source material is a comic book. So if they go a little over the top at times, you kind of have to appreciate it. I can totally see what you're saying. I was just so excited about the scene and what I knew was going to happen that maybe I overlooked it.
Okay, yeah, and see, I it didn't bother me at all because I think from what I know about the character of Green Goblin, which is very little, but part of his persona is literal psychosis. He's actually insane. So
yeah,
I mean,
right.
you can't be. It's hard to be not over the top with the character.
Right.
It's kind of an over the top character, anyways. So it didn't bother me. I don't know. It seems like it almost seems like the Joker's over the top as well, but. Heath Ledger kind of hit it out of the park in Dark Knight. So maybe there is a path to take with the character that would be a perfect way. But I don't know if we quite got it with Dane DeHaan, but this was absolutely a satisfying performance in my opinion. So
agreed.
Yeah.
People will say it was too rushed. People will say they didn't get enough screen time. And again, my argument was Mark Webb wanted to tell us a story about Peter Parker and Gwen Stacy, and he did.
Yeah, and he did it very well too. How about Jamie Foxx? Because I had some thoughts about him. As Electro, he was great. I thought he was just fantastic. But as Max Dillon, that's his name, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I just thought he was just kind of really towing the line of being just a little over the top. And maybe he actually just went over the top.
You're
silly.
basically reading from my review.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I agree 100%. He was scary as Electro, which is I think I've said this before on the podcast. It's like the highest compliment I can pay to a comic book villain is they're scary. But as Max Dillon, he was jokey and almost like Jamie Foxx is too cool and charismatic to play such a dork.
That hits the nail on the head for me.
The score didn't help it. The clarinet boop, 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 didn't help.
No, not at all. Yeah. So,
but how'd you guys feel about Electro's theme though? With it was kind of dubsteppy, but also had like. They were repeating the lines in this mechanical.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. It was pretty cool. I liked it. It complemented what was happening on screen quite well. I didn't really commit it to memory that much, but I did notice it. I did make note of it.
It was very effective. It matched, or it was a parallel to the character. So yeah, I thought it was very very astutely made. The lines underneath it I thought were kind of strange, not really necessary in my opinion, but it didn't take anything away from it. I don't think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought, one of the first things I said when me and Matt were leaving the theater, I was like, Electro was awesome. He's one of my, again, Electro, not Max Dillon. He's probably become one of my favorite, comic book movie villains so far that we've gotten so far. He was just cool. Like you said, he was scary.
Yeah.
He seemed absolutely undefeatable, which of course he was. But it was awesome.
I'm tipping my hand a little bit here again, borrowing from my review. Hopefully people have read it by now. But I said it was certainly the most threatening villain fight in any of the Spider-Man movies.
Yeah.
And it's probably one of the most threatening in any comic book movie I can think of in recent memory.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I just like him as in terms of just his power level is really cool. I like him just as a concept of a character, and it was executed very well.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think? Where do you rank it with the rest of the Spider-Man movies? All 5 of them.
Well, I watched it on Thursday at 8:00, and then I also watched it again on Friday at about 1:00 to kind of confirm. The big question I was also asked is it better than Winter Soldier? It is not.
Oh yeah.
It is significantly better than the first one.
Mm-hmm.
It is almost definitely better than Spider-Man 3. And it might be on par with the first Spider-Man. Okay. I don't know. It's been actually on Friday afterward, because we were thinking about Spider-Man 3. We ended up watching it to compare. And it is this new one is definitely better than Spider-Man 3. So
right.
I think that. Okay. Yeah. I think it's the best yet. I really do.
Yeah, for me, it's I'll have to revisit the first Spider-Man 2 because I have a soft spot for that movie. That may be more for like a nostalgia movie episode if we do another one. But it was just I love that movie. Yeah. So
I've said before, in terms of like filmmaking and movie watching, I think just Spider-Man 2 is a better movie. It's a really fantastic movie. I think people forget about it since The Dark Knight came along. Spider-Man 2 was kind of the high mark for comic book movies. And I said right after I saw this that I wish you could take the cast and the script, the dialogue from this movie, and put it in the story of Spider-Man 2.
Okay.
Nice.
And
have Martin Sakis, who played the over-the-top German doctor in this movie, who was examining Electro. He's an awesome actor. I think he would be an awesome Doc Ock.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm a fan, and I had read everything there is to read before this movie, and I was thinking, is that supposed to be Doc Ock? Until they said it was Kafka. But, I'm sure they were going for that. I'm sure.
Who is Kafka in the comics? Does he have a comic equivalent?
Yeah, not very significant. Actually, as a woman in the comics.
Maybe they're setting up to be Doc Ock.
Maybe. I don't know. I doubt it. So after the movie, I got this strange feeling like I needed to go out and buy a Sony cell phone. Did you guys get that? Did you guys get that feeling?
Yeah, I kind of did.
It was weird. A Sony laptop, a Sony TV. I don't know. It was weird. I can't explain why.
I have I have an axe to grind about product placement and really anything, but it was pretty egregious in this one.
Yeah. Speaking of Sony, what gives about the X-Men teaser at the end?
I'm so glad you said that. I'd heard that there was going to be something X-Men related at the end of the movie, and so I didn't know if it was going to be a trailer or if it was going to be some way that they're connecting the universes and they're doing their own Marvel Studios thing.
I think we can say with confidence that there won't be a crossover.
Exactly, and that is kind of my problem with it because it was very. I was watching, I was like, okay, well, if they're just trying to get people hyped for X-Men Days of Future Past, put a trailer at the end of it. Don't put because that's just confusing to have just a scene.
Yeah, and not even, and that's even more. It's not even an exclusive scene, like how Joss Whedon directed the post-credit scene at the end of Winter Soldier. There was no real linkage there.
Yeah,
frustrating.
it didn't seem to serve any purpose, and it wasn't significant at all. I think it would have been cool if they'd have put like a deleted scene from X-Men, like that we don't get in the movie that's coming out, or if it was linked somehow, or if it was like an exclusive trailer, like with new stuff that nobody had ever seen before. That would have been fine. But it was just a clip from the movie. It just didn't serve any purpose, and it was not significant at all.
Well, I'll tell you what purpose it serves. It's basically to say, let's hold hands in the face of Disney.
That's a good point. That's a good way of looking at it.
Wow.
Over the weekend, Spider-Man made $92 million.
I saw that.
Which is nothing to laugh at, but it wasn't Winter Soldier numbers.
Right.
So, I don't know. Take that for what you will.
But it's made 270 worldwide.
It has, yeah.
I think it'll be all right.
It'll be just fine. I'm interested to see what movie is supposed to come next. Is Sinister Six next, or is Spider-Man 3 next?
That's a good question. I don't know. I was going to ask you for your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you. I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know. It kind of seems like, judging from the movie, it kind of seems like Sinister Six will be next, which I have a problem with. Not a problem, but I just have a disconnect with that in itself because, okay, how are we going to make Sinister Six and make it not just Spider-Man 3? I mean, because if it's from the perspective of the villains, sure, but I mean, it's still, Spider-Man is still the hero in it. I don't understand how they can make a villain-based movie off of one superhero franchise.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So, but
by the way, we also mentioned this in the video with my friend Dustin from Hoi Polloi. We found out that the man in the shadows from the first movie is not Norman Osborn.
That's right. I meant to watch the first movie before, but I ran out of time, so I completely forgot that was a thing until just the second.
So I don't know. A lot of stuff to say. Still a lot to think about. It was worth seeing. I liked it.
It was definitely cool.
I was pleased.
If Winter Soldier hadn't come out before it, I would say it would be a good way to kick off the summer movie season. But
yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So all right, I guess that about does it. And anything else you guys want to talk about Amazing Spider-Man?
I don't think so.
Cool. No. Cool. All right, cool. Well, that about does it for us. Thanks for listening. We've already done all the plugs and all that, but I did forget to mention that we will be at Indie PopCon May 30th to June 1st. So if you're in the Indianapolis area, check it out. It's their first year here. It's going to be huge. They're expecting big numbers. They got a lot of cool people there besides us. No, but they've got like John DiMaggio and a bunch of comic artists and stuff, and Kevin Eastman is going to be there. It's going to be really cool, and we're going to have a booth set up. We're going to be recording. We're going to have giveaways. We're going to have a bunch of stuff for you guys. So if you're in the Indianapolis area and you want to be on the podcast or you want to chat with us, come and check us out at Indie PopCon at the Convention Center, May 30th through June 1st. And that about does it. All right, thanks for listening, guys.
Thanks.